Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to be guiding you through this definitive masterclass on exactly how businesses reward their workforce. If you happen to be studying the AQA specification, particularly topic 3.2.1 on people management, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to unpack the technical analysis of workforce remuneration, we'll explore non-financial incentives, and then we're going to connect everything directly back to the core motivational theorists. Okay, let's dive right into this. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to kick things off with an introduction to reward methods, crack open the financial reward toolkit, dive into non-financial rewards and motivation, tackle the big theorists, Taylor versus Hertzberg, and finally, evaluate strategic rewards suitability. Oh, and get ready because I'm going to be tossing a few interactive pause points your way to really test your skills as we go. All right, part 1, Introduction to Reward Methods. Let's look at why rewarding people is actually a massive strategic pillar and not just about handing out a paycheck. Moving right along to part 2, the Financial Reward Toolkit. This is our A01 technical review. So, let's crack open this financial toolkit. We've got a whole bunch of methods here, and they each have their own distinct pros and cons depending completely on the business model. You've got your wages, paid on an hourly or daily basis, which is great for flexibility, right? Then salaries, which give you that nice fixed monthly stability. We've also got piece rates, literally getting paid per unit you produce, and commission, which is a percentage cut of the sales you make. Throw in shares, giving employees actual equity in the business, and fringe benefits, the whole shebang of non-wage perks like health insurance or maybe a company car. But the one we really need to put under the microscope today is performance-related pay. Let's zoom in on performance-related pay, or PRP for short. Basically, this is a reward system that links an employee's pay directly to what they or their team actually produce. It is an incredibly powerful tool, but honestly, it can be pretty volatile too. If you want to drive specific behaviors like boosting sales, you tie a bonus to a sales target. Simple enough, right? But as we're about to see, linking pay to performance like this can send some serious ripples through a company's operational efficiency and even its overall culture. And that brings us to our very first interactive pause point. This is an AO3 analysis task for you. I want you to build a logical chain of reasoning here. How exactly can a shift towards performance-related pay improve a firm's operating profit margins, while at the exact same time potentially risking team cohesion? So go ahead and pause the explainer right here, grab a pen, map out that step-by-step logical chain, and just hit play when you're ready to debrief. All right, welcome back. Let's trace this logical AO3 chain together, step by step. Step 1, the business implements PRP to reward hitting specific targets. Step 2, employee productivity shoots up because, well, people are highly motivated to grab those financial bonuses. Step 3, since workers are producing more in that exact same amount of time, this greater efficiency leads to falling unit costs. And finally, step 4, those lower unit costs directly improve the firm's operating profit margins. It's a massive financial win across the board. But look at the risk down there at the bottom. If you've only got a limited bonus pool, employees might actually start seeing their colleagues as rivals instead of teammates. That can completely destroy team cohesion and shared goals. It's literally a textbook example of why financial rewards require super careful management. Okay, let's pivot to part 3, non-financial rewards and motivation. Let's kick this off with empowerment. By definition, this is delegating authority and decision-making power straight to your employees. A brilliant example from our source material is Netflix. They operate with surprisingly few rules because they genuinely trust their people to make the right calls. For any major decision, Netflix finds what they call an informed captain of the ship. This empowered expert takes in everyone's views, but ultimately, they make the final judgment call. That culture of empowerment drives just incredible speed and creativity. It lets them out-innovate their rivals without always having to dangle a financial carrot for every single new idea. Next up is job enrichment. This is a job design approach where you basically increase an employee's responsibilities, variety, and autonomy to make their daily work fundamentally more meaningful. Think about the global fast fashion giant Shein. By putting quality control checks right there at the warehouse level, they essentially enriched the jobs of those warehouse workers. The employees take real ownership of delivering quality, kind of treating their colleagues down the line as internal customers. It takes mundane, repetitive tasks and turns them into something with distinct responsibility and recognition, which is a massive boost for motivation. To round out our non-financial toolkit, alongside empowerment and job enrichment, we've also got delegation plus training and development, which is huge for giving staff a real sense of self-actualization and long-term job security. And of course, we can't forget remote, hybrid, and flexible working. Interestingly, though, while flexible working is kind of becoming a baseline expectation for the modern workforce, saving on the commute and getting that work-life balance, it isn't a universal fit for every single company. Going back to Netflix for a second, only about 3% of their employees actually work remotely, which is way below the national average. Why? Because they heavily prioritize the in-person collaboration that's absolutely vital for their specific, highly creative culture. Moving on to part 4, theorists, Taylor versus Herzberg. We are looking at two totally different views of human nature here. On the one hand, we've got F.W. Taylor and his theory of scientific management. Taylor looks at workers in a pretty mechanical way. He leans hard into financial incentives, explicitly pushing for piece rates, meaning you pay workers per unit produced, to directly drive up output. On the flip side, we have Frederick Herzberg's two-factor theory. Herzberg famously argues that you literally cannot buy true motivation. He puts pay and working conditions in a bucket called hygiene factors, meaning if pay is terrible, people are absolutely going to be demotivated, but just raising their pay won't magically make them work harder in the long run. For Herzberg, true motivation has to be built right into the job itself, through job enrichment, recognition, and giving people real responsibility. All right, I want to anchor you with one specific metric right now: 27%. Picture a fictional worker cooperative called Far More Cycles. Their employee costs have absolutely skyrocketed and now sit at 27% of their total revenue. That is a massive financial burden, threatening their cash flow. But because they're a worker cooperative, their entire core mission revolves around deeply valuing and supporting their staff. Which sets us up perfectly for Task 2, our AO2 application challenge. Here's what I want you to do. Propose and justify a combined financial and non-financial reward package for Far More Cycles. How on earth do they manage that heavy 27% wage cost while still staying true to their cooperative, employee-focused mission? Go ahead and pause the explainer again, jot down your proposal and your justifications, and just hit play when you're ready to jump back in. All right, welcome back. Let's see what you came up with. This scenario is just brilliant for illustrating how a smart mix of rewards can totally protect a company's cash flow while keeping them aligned with their core values. On the financial side, instead of bumping up basic wages, which would just push that 27% even higher, they could utilize profit sharing, like shares or dividends. This aligns flawlessly with the worker cooperative model, because you're only rewarding staff when the business actually turns a profit. Then, for the non-financial side, they could lean heavily into empowerment and delegation. By giving the workers a real voice and genuine autonomy, they trigger those high-level Herzberg motivators. It boosts productivity and engagement, and the best part? It doesn't add a single penny to their fixed revenue burden. And finally, part 5, evaluating strategic reward suitability. So zooming out to the big picture, a really well-crafted reward package deeply influences some absolutely critical key performance indicators. First off, it drives employee retention and slashes staff turnover. This is huge because retaining your experienced team is fundamentally way cheaper than constantly shelling out for the high costs of recruitment and talent acquisition to replace them. Second, a strong package attracts top-tier talent in highly competitive markets. Remember, Netflix pays top-of-the-market rates specifically to ensure they snag the very best people. And finally, getting all of this right drives your overall business competitiveness. When your staff is genuinely motivated, whether that's through Taylor's financial incentives or Herzberg's job enrichment, they're going to innovate faster, solve problems more creatively, and deliver way better quality, which gives the business a massive edge over its rivals. I want to wrap things up today with one final provocative task for you to debate. This is targeting AO4, evaluation. Here's the question. Are non-financial rewards a more sustainable way for an agile business to manage uncertainty than traditional financial incentives? I want you to really consider whether a deeply embedded culture of empowerment and shared responsibility is going to outlast simply throwing money at a problem when turbulent economic times hit. Think about the long-term impacts on cash flow versus the immediate fleeting high of a cash bonus. I'm going to leave you to ponder and debate that one. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer on the methods of rewarding people. Keep applying these theories, and I'll see you next time.